Hey everybody. So I kind of already posted a new episode to the podcast without doing a YouTube video. So here I am. To say things have been nuts is an understatement. I'm still recovering from laparoscopic knee surgery with a lateral release. I'm potentially facing a setback. I'll find out about that next Wednesday. Being home for almost a month and a half due to this knee surgery has definitely taken a toll on my mental illness or my mental health. Well, both really. And that's definitely really tough because it's not something that I intended to happen. It's not something that I wanted to happen. But it did. And I'm thankful that I have my husband to help, because if not, I'd be spiraling significantly right now. It's tough to fight mental health problems when you do have at least one family member that says, oh, you don't need that medication, or there's nothing wrong with you, you're just listening to the wrong people. It makes it 10 times harder to fight what you're already going through, because then you start to regret, reaching out and asking for help. And you start to feel unvalidated in the way that you're feeling. At least this is all my personal experience. I can't really speak for how others feel. That would be very wrong of me to do. Of course, I can only ever give my personal experiences. And maybe they end up relating to what somebody else is going through. Just never know. But if there's, and I'm sure there are people out there that experience the same things, or some of the same things, or similar things that I do experience or have experienced. You're not alone. You are valid in what you are feeling. Never feel like you're a burden for asking for help. Never feel regret for asking for help. Don't ever make somebody feel like you're weak for asking for help, because asking for help is not a sign of weakness, but rather as a sign of strength and courage. Because I can't tell you how many times in the past that I would never speak up because I couldn't stand to ask for help for anything, because I didn't want to feel like a burden. I didn't want somebody else knowing what I was going through, and I just didn't want anybody to know until finally I pretty much gave myself a pep talk and was like, you know what? It's time to end this. It's time to start taking care of myself. And finally, I talked to somebody, and they were like, look, you have to take care of yourself, because if not, well, we all know how it could potentially end. And I'm glad it never ended that way. But it doesn't always happen that way for others. And support systems are huge. In the beginning, I didn't feel like I had a big support system. But the support system I have now is what matters. Because without them, obviously, this would not be happening. And it's just, I owe a lot to my support system. And honestly, for those that feel like they don't have a support system or truly don't have one, my heart is broken for you, because nobody should go through dealing with mental health problems, dealing with mental illness without some kind of support system. But if you're watching this channel, I'll be your support system. I mean, obviously I can't do a whole lot through a computer screen, phone screen, but, I can always reply in the comments and talk to you guys through the comments and whatnot, and sometimes that's all anybody needs, is just somebody to listen. I know being a mom and having as many mental health problems as I do, that's only made my life tougher. But watching my son grow into the sassy, spunky little toddler that he is, I would walk through hell for that little boy. So I'm gonna continue to battle against my mental health and do things to make it better. If I have to be on medication for the rest of my life, guess what? That's what I've got to do. But it is possible to wean off medication. I just know that at this current point in my life, that is not an option. It's not a possibility. Maybe later down the road, but not right now. I mean, do I want to be on medication for the rest of my life? No. It's just crazy. Like I said, having a support system is huge. And I wouldn't be where I am without mine. For everybody that has taken time to watch this channel, listen to my podcast, Little Bental Fam, where I also talk about being a mom with mental illness. Thank you for your support from the bottom of my heart, because I didn't realize how large of an audience that I have reached on my podcast, and I don't know if it has helped anybody, but if it has, I hope it's helped for the better. And just know that, you're not alone. But truly, I do appreciate the support for this YouTube channel, for my podcast. When I first started both of these, my goal was really to end the stigma of just talking about mental illness and, talking about, mental health in general. Or, just being a mom and talking about your mental health. Because it doesn't matter if you've got one child, 6 children, 2 children, you've lost a child and then had a rainbow baby, you're not expected to talk about the toll it takes on your mental health. And that's not fair. I have been 100% open about the mental health issues that I have faced since I was 18. I'm certain that I have actually dealt with these mental health issues for a lot longer than that. It's just, for the most part, I was diagnosed at the age of 18. And for the most part, up until moving to Indiana, never really talked about my mental health, because it's just something that I didn't do. And now I'm ready to be a part of a movement to end the stigma, because why should those of us that suffer day in and day out sit in the shadows, be placed on the back burner, be silenced? Why should us moms or dads, why should us parents that suffer from mental illnesses while being a parent and responsible for a tiny human, or, a child, teenager, a young adult, another person, why should we be expected to go about our daily lives as if everything is peachy, everything is rainbows and sunshine and unicorns? That's not fair. Because the reality of it, okay, we all know that parenthood is tough because children do not come with instruction booklets. You literally wing it every single day. My son was sick for the first time this weekend. If it wasn't for my boss, who's also my friend, being an EMT, and my little sister, who is a mom of 3 kids, giving me advice of what to do, I would have had no fucking clue of how to help my son. Other than, just wing it. Figure it out. Because that's what parents do. It's what they've done since the dawn of time. But you throw mental health and mental illness on top of being a parent, and life has literally done a 180. So if you are a friend of a parent that has had a rough day and they just need somebody to talk to, please just be there for them. Because sometimes that's all we want, is a friend to just listen. Because it really is hard just being home with the kid all day, and the only adult interaction that you get is your spouse or partner, significant other, whatever you want to call it. And it's even worse when you're a single parent, because then the only adult interaction you get is with your coworkers, for the most part. So, cut us a break. We're trying a lot harder than what you think we are. And, we deserve a break every now and again. And I'm not saying that, those that aren't parents that suffer from mental illness don't deserve a break. I'm not saying that at all. So please do not get my words twisted. I was specifically talking about how mental illness and mental health problems affect parents. Because guess what? At one point, I was somebody that suffered from mental illness and was not a parent. It was tough, but not nearly as tough as not only trying to be responsible for yourself, but being responsible for another human. Toughest test of my life. Like, how am I supposed to keep this adorable, tiny little human alive when I'm drowning on the inside? At least that's how I feel. So, I've been on both sides of the fence now. I can't tell you how many times my husband has basically come to my rescue when I feel like I'm drowning. And I will literally forever and ever and eternally be grateful for him. Because I couldn't do this without him. And believe it or not, dads can suffer from postpartum depression the same way that moms can. I saw it firsthand with my husband. Because I recognized the signs after I reached out for help. And I'm still dealing with it. Because I already suffer from depression and anxiety. As well as other problems. And it's tough. It is really tough. But I love my husband. I love my son. I wouldn't trade them for anything. But I would gladly give up my mental illness for a day of peace. So, all I can say is, we're trying. And it's tough. We're not making excuses like many people say that we are. Mental illnesses, mental health, it's not an excuse. It's very real. And I don't think I will ever understand why anybody would ever say, oh, it's all just in your head. Like, really now? Well, why didn't I think of that? You don't say. It's all up here. I mean, we're told to take care of our physical health, our emotional health, but when it comes to our mental health, the moment that somebody says, oh, I want to take a step back and so I can focus on my mental health, it's like, oh my God, stop the presses. You know, why is it such a big deal? Why is talking about our mental health such a big fucking deal? I mean, you see people that do self-care activities. You see people that create self-care subscription boxes, that create self-care boxes on Etsy. You see people that, you know, realize, oh, I've let my physical health go way too far to one end. Let's reel it back and get back to a comfortable part so that I don't put myself in the grave. And you see them, you know, going for walks. You see them at the gym, you know, at the park. But as soon as, you know, people want to say, hey, I'm taking a step back, I need to focus on my mental health, it's like, well, how dare you? What makes you think you can do that? Prime example. Look at the 2021 French Open with Naomi Osaka. Look at the Summer Olympics with Simone Biles. Yes, I'm mentioning athletes because guess what? What happens when you mention somebody famous? It travels. But as soon as you mention Joe Schmo over on the street over there, it's like, who? What? Who the hell are you talking about? Like, okay, we can take the time to care about celebrities and athletes and what's going on in their lives because they're going to be open about it. But regular people like you and me, it's just like, no, we're not going to do that. So it's time to end the stigma. Not just for those that are suffering in silence because they're afraid to speak up, but those that are outspoken because they're being the voice for those that are afraid. I'm not afraid anymore. I used to be afraid to talk about my mental health. I used to be afraid to say I need help. I used to be afraid to say, hey, I think something's wrong with me. Can I talk to you? Not anymore. And thankfully, up here where I live in Indiana, I have several teams of doctors, but guess what? I have teams of doctors that care. And I know it's not like that all across the country or even across the world. You know, I'm blessed. And I'm not saying this to rub it in, to, be like, haha, I've got a team of doctors. No. When you find a team of doctors that cares about your health and well-being and wants to help you, that's pretty fucking special. Because, when I lived in Florida, I did not have that. So the care that I'm receiving now is exponentially different. And I wouldn't trade it. I would not trade it for the fucking world. Because I'm getting better. I'm not being forced to regress. I'm progressing, not regressing. So, I hope that everybody that comes to my channel, this channel in particular, feels safe enough to speak about, their experiences, because I hold no judgment. This is a safe place for you to talk about your experiences. If you need somebody to talk to, pop down in the comments and I will do my best to reply to them. As a mom, I can't promise that, I'll reply right away, but I can promise that when I do see comments, I will reply. So let's end the stigma together. Let's all be more open to talking about our mental health and, being a shoulder for somebody to lean on, be a bright spot for somebody if they're having a bad day, and if you're that single friend with no kids and you got parent friends, let them vent to you, and don't make them feel like they're a burden, because we can tell when you're irritated and don't want to hear what we want to vent about or talk about. Body language is huge. Just saying. So, I think that's really all I've got for this episode. Really, I just wanted to get my point across that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to want to better yourself, even if that means moving and uprooting your life from what you know. It's okay to swallow your pride and ask for help. That shows strength and courage, not weakness. And if you don't have a support system, I'll be part of your support system. Because everybody deserves one. And don't go looking in the wrong places for a support system. Because that's where you find temptations, and not the good kind. The good kind of temptations are chocolates, and cakes, and desserts, and nachos, and tacos. And now I'm making myself hungry. So, on that note, I hope everybody has a wonderful night and stays safe. And if you have kiddos, hug and squeeze them tight. Kiss their little noses. Boop them. If you are a pet parent, snuggle the fur babies, boop the snoots, play with the toe beans. Just accept your role as pet parent. It is wonderful. Because I'm also a pet parent. I have 5 cats, 2 dogs. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm sure in some of the other videos you guys have seen the cats roam around. So, maybe at some point I'll let the dogs sneak in. So, yeah, that's it for now. I'll try and get more of a concrete schedule shaped up soon-ish. But, life is full of surprises. You never know what's going to happen. So, I will see you guys next time. Be safe, be careful, and just know everything works out eventually. Not everything happens right up when we want it to.